Welcome back to another episode of the Born for the Stars podcast, talking all things abundance, the neuroscience of abundance, as well as the astrology of abundance, inspired by Taurus season. Taurus is one of the money signs of the zodiac, and it expands us into more joy, more pleasure. And with Taurus, it's the simple pleasures of life and finding beauty in our daily routines. It's like finding joy in our morning coffee, in a nature walk. It's all about the senses. And with this, it brings in a powerful conversation around our capacity to receive the things that we want in life. We don't get what we want, we get who we are. And from a neuroscience lens, we get what we feel safe receiving. Thankfully, there is such a thing as neuroplasticity, where we can rewire our brain to feel safe in more joy and pleasure. And that's the conversation that I want to have today, because life gets to feel good for you. And Taurus season really invites us into that. So we are just coming out of a very heightened Aries season. And even as we begin Taurus season, there is still a lot of planets that are in the sign of Aries. So it really has this fiery essence to it. But now that the sun is in Taurus, we're also really reminded to look at our value system. So let's back up a little bit. When we go through the zodiac, we have Aries at the very beginning and Pisces at the very end. And each of these 12 signs are archetypes that we know. Each of us know them. And we're comfortable in these archetypes in different ways. And our birth chart can signal that as well. If we have a lot of planets, say you have a lot of planets in Virgo, this lifetime, you're going to get to know that Virgo archetype very well. Maybe you don't have any planets in Taurus, so you're not as familiar with this energy. But here's the thing that a lot of people overlook and miss with astrology. Even if we don't have planets in a certain sign, it is still so relevant to us because that sign rules over a certain area in our birth chart. So a certain area of our chart is infused with that zodiac sign. And for instance, as we move through Taurus season now and the sun moves through Taurus, whether or not you have planets there, it's going to activate a certain area of your chart. And the more that we get to know these different archetypes, the better we're able to connect with other people because we understand them more. And the more whole and complete we feel in ourselves when we're able to lean into our edges of what may feel uncomfortable. I always find it's powerful to know, like, what seasons do we seem to enjoy every year? What feels at home for us? When the full moon is in a certain sign, is it uncomfortable? When does it feel really expansive and exciting? This can reveal our level of comfort with that certain archetypal energy. So with Aries, the beginning, let's start there and move into Taurus. We're not going to go through all signs. We're really going to hone in on Taurus and abundance here, but this is key. So as we moved into this Aries season, there's this new beginning energy that's opening up. This new timeline, this new chapter that is opening up for us. This is happening in a certain area in your life, and you're probably feeling that, like, new beginning energy. And Aries has such an innocence to it. There's like an innocence to that archetype that actually gives it courage. People that have a lot of Aries energy are the trailblazers. They lean in and go for it before they're ready because there's something about that innocence that allows us to say, I'm going to try. I'm going to move before I'm ready. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm going to trailblaze. And we need that fiery passion. Now, as we move from that energy into Taurus season, this is where we build a foundation that reflects our value system, a foundation that allows us to be in this energy of overflow and abundance, not working just for the sake of working, but really looking at finding joy in the journey. So knowing what area of your chart Taurus rules over is going to help you take this even deeper. It's going to help you understand how this energy is at play for you as we move throughout this new season. Now, Taurus is ruled by the zodiac or by the planet Venus. Venus is the goddess of love, of beauty, and prosperity, hence this focus on abundance and allowing ourselves to experience life more fully. So let's go over a couple highlights here of Taurus season. So on April 24th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Gemini. And since Venus is the ruler of this season, this is one that I want to mention. There's, lots of little highlights we could go into, but I do want to keep the focus more on money and abundance. But on the 24th, Venus moving into Gemini brings this very playful, fun, magnetic energy. And when we are in this energy of playfulness, we are more magnetic to new ideas. We are even more magnetic to money, I find. Play with that in your business. Anytime we're stressed, we're going to be closed off. We're not going to be a match to new ideas. We're not going to feel like taking action. We're just going to be in that fight or flight mode. But when we are in this energy of playfulness and fun, we become more magnetic. And Venus in Gemini supports us in that. It reminds us to be flexible and adaptable and to go with the flow a little bit more and to lean in to what causes that feeling of bliss within us. We really need to know that about ourselves and our blueprint. What allows us to kind of shake that energy when we're feeling anxious or down? What raises our spirits? We don't want to leave those things up to chance. We want to know what lifts my mood. And Venus and Gemini can be a conversation with a friend. It can be trying something that we wouldn't normally do. Maybe instead of staying in and watching your favorite show on a Friday night, you go out dancing with a friend. Doing something new, that novelty often lifts our spirits and it shakes us out of our comfort zone. It's one of the reasons I actually love to travel, because I find when we travel, we're taken away from our normal routine, which can actually be a really good thing. So we're not just falling back on familiar patterns. April 25th is the huge date to take note of. If you follow other astrologers, you likely heard them talk about this. I would say this is one of the biggest shifts of the year. Saturn and Neptune in Aries was a major one that we had, but apart from that, on April 25th, mark this date in your calendar. This is groundbreaking energy that we're going to feel collectively. When the outer planets change signs, we feel this collectively. So this is the day where Uranus enters Taurus or enters Gemini, leaving Taurus, entering Gemini, where it will stay until 2033. Uranus is the disruptor, the rebel, the awakener, and it is really going to shake things up for us collectively, like really pick up the pace for the rest of the year, bringing in new brilliant ideas. We're definitely going to see technology take off, and I really feel more than ever, spiritual technologies, like having access to the Akashic Records, is going to be so powerful at a time where people are leaning so heavily into AI. And nothing against AI at all. I think it's a brilliant tool, but it cannot replace our connection to our intuition, to spirit, and these spiritual technologies. So I think, Uranus and Gemini can really advance both. We have to be really conscious about how we're using technology in our life. This is also about embracing change. Uranus and Gemini, you're actually going to feel better when you embrace change. You'll feel more free. If there's a decision you've been sitting on, now is the time to make it. If there's been something you've wanted to say yes to, say yes to it. There is freedom in allowing ourselves to follow our intuition and the call of our soul. The more we resist it, we slow down our progress. And especially with Uranus and Gemini, we just feel off. That's where we could start to feel really stuck and stagnant, because Uranus and Gemini rewards taking action on our decisions, trying something new, being willing to expand beyond our comfort zone, entertaining new ideas and new possibilities for our life. So those are Two dates I would take note of. Again, there's lots of other little things happening throughout Taurus season as well. And we also had the full moon in Scorpio. But these are the two I really want to highlight today. So April 24th, Venus moves into Gemini. How can you embrace more joy and fun in your life? What gives you that feeling of pleasure, bliss, and joy? And can you move from that space? And can you take that with you in your business as well? Into your relationships. I find, and I've heard this from clients too, it's like when they sit down to write a post, sometimes they feel they have to be all professional suddenly, or they have to say things in a certain way, or they start worrying about offending people and go into people-pleasing mode, and they don't bring their authentic expression with them. So Venus and Gemini is like, bring the joy, bring the expression. It's also about the different sides of who you are. Gemini, the twins, let people see the multidimensional aspects of you. April 25th, this is the really big one where Uranus enters Gemini. You may also want to check where that is in your chart. What house does Gemini rule over, or houses? Uranus moves really slowly, so the very beginning of Gemini is going to be what's activated for you throughout this year, and it's definitely an area of your life where there's going to be change. It could feel like disruption, but I find disruption, we perceive it that way when we're really resisting the change, and if we lean in and allow ourselves to grow, evolve, change, then it actually feels like more of an awakening. So it's all in how we frame it. And if you would like me to interpret this for you, that's where the one-on-one work is, where we can go over exactly where it's landing for you and what this means for money in your life, for the impact that you're here to make, for strategies in your business. Like it can get so specific with astrology. It's really, really cool. Okay, let's now talk about money and abundance, beginning with the nervous system and safety. So our nervous system, basically when it comes to money, it's how safe we feel receiving. Your brain is always asking, is this safe or is this a threat? Because the job of our brain is to keep us alive. So it's going to constantly be on the lookout for what it perceives as a threat and looking to keep us safe. So if you grew up in your life, like early on experience, and it was very stressful, very chaotic, maybe emotionally unpredictable. So if your childhood, there felt like a lot of fighting, or like you had to walk on eggshells, or you were responsible for people's mood, whether that's like other siblings you grew up with or your parents in some way, you felt like how you show up, how you behave, you were responsible for someone else's emotions. That can lead to walking on eggshells and absolutely people pleasing and thinking you're responsible even as an adult for how other people respond to you or how they feel. So if you grew up in that kind of space, then your baseline can become more alert, kind of bracing for danger or waiting for the other shoe to drop or something to go wrong. And even if you grew up, maybe you grew up in a really loving household, but perhaps you sense there was this underlying tension around money. Like you would ask for a pair of shoes that you wanted and you could sense that your mom's body would like tighten up, or you would have to wait for maybe like a birthday or like a special occasion. So as children, we don't really understand like the full picture. So we come to these conclusions around what it means about money, about our worth, about our value. We're like taking it all in. We're just a sponge. And children also are so good at calibrating to the nervous system of the people around them, because you see, your parents, your caregivers, they're your providers. As a child, we have to rely on them for our safety, for our physical safety, to have a place to sleep at night, to feed us. So it's very much linked to safety. And if we sense that they're in an emotional state of stress and overwhelm, for whatever reason, we can start to calibrate to that tension in our body. So if in some way money was associated with discomfort, or perhaps you you learned all sorts of things around money. Like, I can have what I want, but I have to work really hard in order to receive that. Or I only get what I want if I behave and I'm really good. And this leads into worthiness as we're adults, right? We really feel like, have I done enough work? Am I ready to receive it? Am I worthy of it? And one of the first messages I ever got in the records is that we are innately worthy. And I just felt that so strongly. And I want to share that with you, to know you are innately worthy and to start moving from that energy, because that's very connected with Taurus season vibes as well. Taurus is knowing you're worthy because you exist. Like, you don't have to work for joy and pleasure. Yes, we work to receive results in our life, and Taurus has this really interesting practical component, the Taurus archetype of being willing to show up, do the work in order to get the results. So that's a part of it. But know that your worthiness is never in question. Like, you are worthy because you exist. Start to affirm that. So going back to the neuroscience here of receiving, whether that's receiving money or receiving pleasure, if we grew up in a more chaotic kind of atmosphere, calmness and joy and pleasure can start to feel unsafe. Because when our system is used to chaos, calm can register as something's off. Where's the problem? Even though there's no problem, because it is different than what our system is used to experiencing, it can register as a threat that we have to solve. Maybe you've experienced this before in your life, where things were going really good and then your mind suddenly started to look for things to worry about. Like, you were having a relaxing day, maybe relaxing at the beach, soaking up the sun, feeling really good. And then all of a sudden, your mind started to worry about the bills you have to pay, or maybe a loved one, and looking for those threats, because in some way it's like, wait, we're calm, we're at peace. Can we really be here? Like, is it safe to be here? And it totally is safe to be there, but our brain may not fully get that message. So this is where self-sabotage patterns could be triggered, like creating a sense of urgency where there actually doesn't need to be any urgency at all. Or overworking when things are going really well. Picking apart what's going well, like your brain starts to hyper-focus on finding a problem. And this could play out again in different ways. Maybe things are flowing really well in your business. You have clients coming in that you love. Your income is increasing. You see your following increasing. And then your brain is suddenly like, wait a second, let's look for a problem to solve here, when perhaps there isn't a problem to solve and you can allow things to keep getting better and better. This could play out in a relationship as well. If a romantic partnership starts to go, really well and you're not used to that, and suddenly communication is just flowing beautifully, you're expressing your needs, you're having fun together, but you're not used to that sense of calmness and connection and love, your brain can start to look for problems or even create one. That's where we start to perhaps create an argument out of nowhere or push people away. And this is subconscious stuff. Like, we're not consciously wanting to do that. And it's not like our brain is at all against us. It's just saying, hey, something's off here. Shouldn't we address this? And so our brain is always going to prioritize familiarity over what we desire. Our brain is not designed for expansion. It is designed to keep us safe. Thankfully, there is such a thing as neuroplasticity. So you can expand your receiving set point. You can get better at allowing more money to flow in and feeling safe receiving it, allowing more pleasure in your life and normalizing that. We rewire our brain. We know we're able to do that. And there's different ways we do that. So repetition is one. We start to have new emotional experiences. We start to collect new evidence. So when you have these emotional experiences of, say, everything is flowing beautifully in your relationship, noticing that and seeing how safe it is to be there. Like, look for evidence that, wow, things are flowing well. I'm still alive. I'm still here. Things are good. This is safe. Like, we have to consciously clock those moments and really lock it in. Or perhaps you have your highest cash month ever in your business, and there's a part of you that's like, this is amazing. And then maybe there's another part of you that goes to worry right away, like, can I keep this up? Can I do this next month? Was this just a fluke? And yes, there's a strategy and system behind those things that are really key as well. But the emotional, energetic safety part of it is key too. So knowing, using that example, like you have that highest cash month, how safe it is that you are safe there, right? Like our brain can be very dramatic and go to like life and death. So you're still alive, things are flowing well, nothing bad happened, and clock that moment, notice it, breathe, let your nervous system relax into it. And one of my favorite ways to do this neuroplasticity work is in the records, where I calibrate to a new timeline. This is what I do with my clients all of the time. We are calling in their highest timeline for money, for receiving. And that's actually very different for each of us. We each have our own karmic path with money, like lessons we came here to learn, things we came here to experience, different things that make us magnetic, different interests that we have, different lessons. Like we're just all here on a unique journey. And that's the same when it comes to money and this feeling of abundance as well. And these are two different things, by the way. Like we can have a lot of money in our account. I was talking about this with one of my clients where she had shared, like, when she had the most money ever in her savings account, she had this fear the entire time. Like she did not feel abundant. She did not feel safe. So of course, the work is feeling safe receiving that. That's what I help my clients do, is see how safe it is and how it gets to get even better than that. That's another little trick when our brain wants to cap us where we are, put a ceiling on us, to look at how does it get even better than this? Entertaining that question, how does it get even better than this? What's the goal beyond the goal? And feel into that. That can be another tip. Very helpful one that breaks that pattern when we think we've reached an upper limit. And this doesn't need to be just with money and abundance. This can come into other areas of our life. Like you are just feeling joyful and you are feeling good. Entertain that question if worry comes in. How does it get better than this? Show me how it gets to keep getting better, because your brain will respond to those directives and it'll start to look at all the ways that it gets to keep getting even better. So favorite way for me is calibrating to a new timeline in the Akashic Records. So opening the records, asking certain questions that allow me to align with my highest path. And I do this in different areas of my life, like making it specific, like how can I serve in my highest timeline? What does it mean to show up and be of service to my community in the highest path? What does that look like? This can be with prosperity. What does my highest path of prosperity look like? But it becomes a very visceral experience, which is required for neuroplasticity. It has to be a strong emotional anchor that breaks the old pattern. So not just thinking about it, but feeling it in our body, having the frequency shift. The other piece that is so key with neuroplasticity is the shift in identity. Do you see yourself as the type of person who experiences joy? Are you the type of person who lives in prosperity and abundance? One of my favorite affirmations, I did this for years when I was shifting my relationship with money, and I got this, I believe it was from Denise Duffield Thomas, is her name, many, many years ago. So I'm pretty certain it was from one of her podcasts or perhaps even a book by her, where it was looking in the mirror and affirming that this is the face of a wealthy woman. And I didn't even realize at the time that it was doing some deep identity work. Like I was changing my identity to really see that I am the type of person who can create wealth and abundance. I don't have to fundamentally change who I am in order to have abundance, which is huge. That didn't mean that I didn't need to let go of certain beliefs, release certain karmic patterns, step into a new identity, but the core of who I was I was able to like fully be my authentic self and have abundance. So I invite you to see yourself as somebody who has money, who lives in abundance, right? And again, going back, finishing my other thought here, money and abundance can be slightly different things, right? Because money is the number we see in our account, but abundance is a frequency that we feel. It's an experience that we have regardless of the amount in our account. And you get to have both. I want my clients having both if you want that, which I assume if you're listening to this, you do. You want abundance, you want money in ways that feel good and aligned for you. So abundance is this feeling of I have more than enough. I am in overflow. I am provided for. It is the opposite of being in this lack and scarcity mode. And this is what I invite you to really feel into this Taurus season, where you feel abundant in your life, how safe you feel in allowing more good things to come in. So a little example here just to see how your body may respond to having like an influx of financial abundance. So if your income suddenly doubled tomorrow, maybe, or let's make it more specific, the amount that you currently have in your account, if that doubled tomorrow, would your body relax or tighten? Would it expand or contract? Really begin to feel into the connection between your goals, your desires, and how it fully lands in your body. Because we can consciously want something that our subconscious hasn't quite calibrated to yet. And when we know the difference, that's where we can bridge the gap. So how would that feel for you? Or if a new client reached out to you, said, I'm ready to sign on to your highest package. You're my dream mentor. Let's do this. Would you relax or expand? How would that actually feel in your body? And do this with anything you desire right now. Maybe anything you want. Maybe this is calling in your dream home. If that became available and you moved in tomorrow, how would you respond? And then again, the work is the rewiring, the neuroplasticity, the bringing in a new identity, the allowing of your body to relax into safety around having the things that you desire. All the work that I do with my clients, we do that in my one-on-one mentorship in spaces where it can really be personalized to what are your triggers, what is your point of expansion, what is the goal that you want to reach. Getting your body on board with it, your nervous system on board with it, doing the deeper reprogramming work in the Akashic Records while we call in that highest timeline for you. So I'm going to attach a link in the show notes with an opportunity to work together one-on-one, but all my spaces, honestly, we do this work. Even in my Akashic journeys, if you've done my Akashic journeys before, they're infused with this reprogramming work. Like I bring in the knowledge of neuroscience, couple that with these journeys in the Akashic Records to create more lasting change. So I want to leave you today with some ways that you can expand into allowing more abundance and feeling safe in this energy of joy and of pleasure, so you can get the most out of Taurus season and just carry that with you as you move forward on your journey. Whatever's happened so far this year or so far in your life, know that this can be a turning point now. So the first thing, when you feel good throughout the day, when you notice a feeling of peace or a feeling of joy, no matter how fleeting, and whatever that is for you, because this really depends where we kind of are on the emotional scale. If we've been feeling really anxious or depressed, a feeling of relief, I mean, that can be like the best feeling ever. If you're already in a really good place, life is good, you're feeling good in your body, those heightened emotions of joy and love, that could be the thing that you're leaning into, but we can all get there. So when you notice those moments throughout the day, can you hold that feeling of joy 5 seconds longer? It's so interesting that we often dwell on worry and fear so much more, like the things we worry about loop in our mind. I say interesting, but you're probably getting the neuroscience of it by now. When something registers as a threat, we become hyper-focused and specific. So we want to train ourselves to do this with joy. Dwell on the joy. Talk about what's going good. Feel that in your body. When something really good happens, where do you feel it in your body? Can you breathe into that area? Can you couple it with a color? Can you allow it to expand? Can you let yourself know you're safe there? And this is where we bring in the work of the body, right? It's not just intellectually, oh, it's safe that I had this chunk of money come in, or oh, it's safe that I'm going on this vacation. It's like, feel it in your body. Allow it to land. That's another word for Taurus, embodied. It's connected to the senses. So this is the season to really look at not just like mentally envisioning abundance and money and overflow, but embodying the feelings that go with it. When someone gives you a compliment, can you receive it without deflecting? So just say thank you and leave it there. But even more than that, feel that gratitude. Can you allow yourself to fully receive? I find compliments are a good one to kind of practice with, like expanding our capacity, knowing how good we are at receiving compliments. Like maybe we get good at saying thank you, but do you really feel it? Do you feel safe receiving it? And again, it's a practice. Sit with it. Where does that land in your body? That gratitude of, wow, I'm going to receive those kind words. Allow it in. And prioritize what brings you into a feeling of bliss instead of having it be an afterthought. So once you've done enough work, once you've put in enough hours, then you can play. You want to shift that mindset, especially as we have Venus moving into Gemini as well, and the sun in Taurus. It's like joy. Let yourself play. Let yourself have fun. And know that that energy is actually magnetic. When you're in the energy of joy and bliss, I know for myself, that's when I get the most creative ideas, when I can relax my physical body, do the things I love. I get all these incredible downloads for what I want to share with my community, offers that I want to put out there. When I do show up, my energy is more magnetic. So prioritize what brings you a feeling of bliss, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. All of these things will expand your capacity to receive. So let me know on social what really stood out for you today. I always love to hear from you. So I know I can't see the comments directly under my podcast. I guess I can on YouTube though. I may also add this one on YouTube. I'll be able to see comments there. But I love hearing from you. Reach out if you would like to do one-on-one work together, really discovering how your birth chart is actually your best map for expansion, how to do this reprogramming work so you allow in more money, more pleasure. Always with my personal clients, there's strategy interwoven as well. So we're doing this deeper energetic work, but then it's also guidance and direction that makes it really tangible and practical so you can begin to see results in your everyday life very quickly. We work with these energetic patterns and astrology shifts in very tangible ways. So I will attach links in the show notes for ways to go further with this work. And enjoy Taurus season. I'm just holding the vision of you in overflow, in joy, and abundance. Lots of love. Bye for now.